We are getting very close to the conclusion of Season 5 here in the Portland Trail Blazers MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K24. Today, the plan is to get through the regular season. If all goes well and we clinch the 1 seed, we're going to get everything done today. Last episode, we had the All-Star break and went through the first few weeks after that. As it stands now, we're 54-11, currently 9 games ahead of the Sacramento Kings for first place in the conference. So if all goes well, we should comfortably clinch the number 1 seed here with multiple weeks left to go in the regular season. After the top 3 seeds is where all hell kind of breaks loose. You've got 5 or 6 teams really in the mix for that 4 seed with New Orleans, Utah, OKC, San Antonio, Dallas, and Minnesota all fighting for that spot. The Kings should get 2, the Rockets should get 3, maybe those teams flip, but after that things get weird. The Pelicans and Jazz have underperformed this year, but they are both on long winning streaks. And even Minnesota, who's been super up and down this year, they've been really streaky, but they've won 3 in a row. They played us twice in the last episode and really played us well. We ended up splitting those 2 games, barely winning the game that we won. And then there's a race for the 10 seed, really with 3 teams. The Suns currently have the edge, but the Nuggets and the Lakers are right in the mix. I still have to think the Lakers have the best chance of getting that spot because they're significantly more talented than the other 2 teams. And then in the East, as we know, this conference is absurdly close. 4 teams within 1 game, 6 teams within 2. It's really 11 teams fighting for 10 spots, with the Pacers having lost 6 in a row, kind of pulling themselves out of it. But there's 11 teams who are above 500 and in the mix for the playoffs, so it'll be interesting to see how that ultimately unfolds. Obviously, our team has been injured for much of the past few months, but right now we're pretty healthy. Ochai Agbaji just suffered a back injury. It shouldn't really be a big deal. He's only missed a couple of games, and he should be set to return pretty soon. The only big injury we have is Damian Lillard, who, of course, we acquired at the trade deadline from the Las Vegas Venom. He played around 5 or 6 games for us, and in this game against Charlotte, he moved to the bench because Scoot Henderson returned. This is the first bench game he had ever played his entire career. And sure enough, he suffers an ankle injury that's going to keep him out for most of the remainder of the year. He hated coming off the bench that much, I guess. But other than that, the team is fully healthy. And if we do clinch the 1 seed, we're really going to focus on the development of certain young players. So a guy like Damian Lillard might not even play the rest of the regular season because by the time he comes back, we might already have the number 1 seed locked. And while I may still play other guys like Springer and Griffin, I'm not going to play Lillard because he's 37 years old. There's not really a reason to. Of course, Darius Springer is currently in second place for the MVP, only trailing Luka Doncic. Springer has played quite well since the All-Star break. His assist numbers are down, but his scoring is up. His defense has obviously still been great, but Luka still finds himself ahead, even though the Mavericks are barely in the play-in. Luka currently leads the league in estimated wins added with Springer in second. So by definition, Luka might be more valuable. But if the NBA is consistent with how they've given out the MVPs in the past, I feel like it should be Darius Springer because he's the best player on the best team, whereas the Mavericks are currently in 8th place. If Dallas gets hot at the end of the year and jumps to 4, I would kind of understand them giving it to Luka. But other than that, Darius Springer should probably be the favorite. Not to mention, when we recently played the Mavericks, we beat them, and Darius Springer was our only healthy starter. The other 4 starters did not play, and we still won, which I feel like kind of says something. Before we go any further, we have not done a prospect profile all season, and I want to take a look at this year's draft class, spend some time with it before we get into the remainder of the episode. Keep in mind, we don't currently have a first-round pick. We only have 1 second-rounder, which belongs to Golden State. The Warriors are pretty bad, so as of now, that looks like probably the 6th or 7th pick of round 2, and thus, we very well could have a pretty high second-round pick. But I still want to look at some of the top prospects in this class. I don't think there's a clear number 1 pick. I think there's probably 5 or 6 guys in the running. It's not necessarily a weak class, but there are a lot of players here. If I had to say now, I think Kairos Skarenko from Greece is the very slight favorite to be the number 1 pick. He's a 6'5" wing with a 7-foot wingspan, and I think this kid has a really good feel for the game. He's very polished and he's very advanced compared to some of the other top prospects. He's not necessarily an elite athlete, but he is a dynamic shot creator from all 3 levels. He's inconsistent as a finisher. I think that's the one area of his scoring that really needs a lot of work. I like what he provides defensively, but he isn't a great playmaker yet, and he could look to improve in that area, but he's got good size and length and good scoring ability, which makes him intriguing. Reese Wallum is the best pure point guard in this class. He plays for the City Reapers in overtime elite and is a really well-rounded offensive player. I like his ability to finish around the basket. He's a good passer as well. Inconsistent as a shooter, though, especially from three, but I think that's an area of his game that could very well improve because he's got pretty solid shot mechanics. He's not a great defensive player yet, but I really like what he provides offensively with his athleticism, finishing, and passing. A little bit smaller at 6'2", 190, but I think he's got the skill set to be the modern NBA point guard. Alonzo Evers from Georgia Tech is really the prototype modern NBA forward. He's 6'10", 230. He can handle the ball, he can run the floor, and he's extremely skilled. He can pass, he can shoot, he can create his own shot, and because of that, I would argue he has a higher ceiling than any player in this class. And if you want to take a big swing for the fences, number one overall, I think Alonzo Evers is the guy. He is a dynamic scorer. He's got great touch from the mid-range, really solid three-point shooter, pretty good defensive player, and he's a good enough athlete. He's not a great finisher. That's the one area of this game that I think he could improve upon. Javonte Sparks from Stanford is a big guard. He's 6'8". He's built like a 3, but he's got the IQ of a point guard who can lead an offense. Sparks is a really good passer at his size, and he's a really talented offensive player who is slithery driving to the basket. Now, the shooting needs to come along. He's not a particularly great three-point shooter yet. That's something that he needs to improve upon. But I think he's a pretty good defensive player, and obviously, as I mentioned, he's got a great feel for the game, really good passer. For those of you who watched the Knicks franchise last year, you may recognize the name Khalil Griffin. He was one of the first guys off our bench, kind of like a Jamal Crawford or a Lou Will in the sense that he was a really good microwave scorer and an ultra-impressive athlete. Well, this is his son, Roman Dumbu, coming from the University of Houston. Roman is an even better prospect than his father, who was a late first-rounder. Like his dad, he's an above-the-rim athlete. Let's look at this dunk again, because I think his head might have literally gone above the rim. This kid can jump out of the gym. Like his dad, he's also a pretty dynamic scorer and a good shot creator from all three levels. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded than his dad and likely has more long-term upside because of his ability as a playmaker and his feel for the game. The one issue with Dumbu is that, as of right now, he is lunchtime on defense. He is a liability on that end of the floor, but I think he's got the size and length to eventually be a good defender. 6'5", 215 with a 6'11 wingspan. He has the bill of a good perimeter defender. He's just not there yet. But if he becomes a good defender with his athleticism and shot creating, look out. This kid could be a star. And then we've got Keyshawn Carrizo from Archbishop Wood High School just outside of Philadelphia. Carrizo's a really interesting player because he's got a long ways to go in his development, but he is an ultra-impressive athlete at his size. He might have a higher ceiling than anybody in this class because he's 6'10", 240, and he's got the quickness, speed, and vertical ability of a guard. He's a really good finisher inside, but the rest of his game is severely lacking. He's not a great shooter yet. He has an okay feel as a passer. Defensively, there's some upside, but he's got a long ways to go. But he's one of the youngest players in this class, and if you're willing to develop him, I think he could be really good. I think any of these top 6 players have a chance to go number 1. What about some of the guys in the late lottery? Are there some players here who could end up being pretty good? The answer for me is certainly yes. We'll take a look at Khalid Kamal, another Stanford player, teammate of Javonte Sparks. Kamal is the point guard, and while Sparks runs the offense, Kamal is this team's top defensive player. Look at him on this possession, sticking with his guy the entire time, doesn't even really let him get a shot off. I like Kamal's ability on the ball and off the ball. He does both of those things on offense at Stanford. I think he's a good passer, and I think he can get open and hit some occasional threes. But what you're most excited about is the defense. He is incredible on that end of the floor. It may be hard to believe, but I think you can argue that Quintorius Space out of Rutgers might be an even better defensive prospect. He's 6'7" with a 7'1" wingspan. He's got the athleticism, size, and length to guard pretty much all 5 positions. It's about his offense, though, particularly his three-point shot, if that can develop, and I believe that it will. I think his three-point shot actually projects well for the NBA because he's a good mid-range shooter. He's a good three-throw shooter, and he has good shot mechanics. I think it's only a matter of time until he improves the three ball, and if he can with his defense and athleticism, look out. Another guy to look at is Sincere Osborne Harper, only 17 years old, a 6'8" guard from Virginia. He's a really interesting player. Monikar Mbobo, the 7'2" center from USC, is another guy who I like. He fits the type of center who the Blazers have liked to build around. He's kind of the better version of Ashton Wisham. A little bit smaller than Wisham, but he's a good finisher inside. He's a really solid interior defender, and I think he's athletic enough to run the floor consistently, even if he's not going to give you anything on the perimeter on either end of the floor. He's somebody who can run the rim, he's athletic, and I do think he is the modern NBA big, even though he doesn't really have any perimeter presence. Let's look down the board in the first round. There are multiple players who I think could be gems here, including Amon Thomas from the NBA's G League Ignite. He's a 6'6" wing with a 6'11" wingspan. I like what he can do on the defensive end of the floor. And this is somebody who's athletic, he's quick, he's one of the fastest players in the entire class, and he can get to the basket quickly and create his own shot at a pretty high level. He's only 18 years old. He's got plenty of room to grow. He needs to be more consistent, though. That's the one area that I think he needs to improve on. He's not a particularly good jump shooter at this point in time, and I don't think his jump shot projects as well as some of these other guys higher in the class. But that's really the one question I have with Thomas. Other than that, he checks off all the boxes, and I'm really intrigued by his upside in the 20s. Joyner Yates from West Virginia is going to be a really good role player. Probably never an all-star, never a guy who is a great scorer, but he's a really good defensive player. He's versatile on that end of the floor. He's only 6'9", but he plays a lot bigger. And then super late in the first round, Jalen Tint, the point guard out of Kentucky, is a crafty 6'3" scorer who knows how to pick his spots on the ball and off the ball. The three-point shot could use more consistency, but I think it can get there. He's a decent enough playmaker. Defensively, he's not great, but he's not awful either. The last player we're going to look at is Pierre Armani Moon Jr. from Alabama. This is somebody who I think is going to be a really good secondary scorer. Maybe not ever a great scorer, but somebody who can come off the bench as a sixth man and really give you consistent offensive ability. He's also a really good defensive player as well. I think he can defend the team's best player and do it at a high level. It's a fun class with some really good players at the top and some intriguing role players who we're maybe hoping can fall to the second round. There's also some good bigs who we didn't even get to talk about. We didn't go over a ton of centers today, but I think it actually is a pretty good center class, and I'm excited to dive deeper into some of those bigs in the next episode. Let's take a look at where the mock drafts stand. The Sporting News has Reese Wallum going number 1 with some surprises in the top 5. Sincere Osborne Harper is a very intriguing player who we kind of mentioned, only 17 years old. But I'd be a little bit surprised if guys like Elijah Abraham and Hudson Nguyen went in the top 5 over some of those other top prospects we talked about. 2K also has Reese Wallum going number 1. Osborne Harper, again, here at number 3 with the Grizzlies. But I think the rest of this mock draft is a lot more realistic with Skarenko at number 2, and then Javonte Sparks, Alonzo Evers, and Keyshawn Carrizo, where they belong in the top 5 to 6 picks. I've always thought NBA.com's mocks were the most accurate. Again, they have Reese Wallum number 1. And then the rest of this draft makes a lot of sense. I don't think Khalid Kamal is going to be the first Stanford player off the board. But other than that, I could see it. So with that, our now full focus is on the final stretch of the regular season. We're going to simulate these next couple of weeks, try to figure out when we're going to be in position to clinch the 1 seed. So we're going to go through these 7 games. And we've got some tough matchups like the Lakers, the Wolves, the Knicks, the Magic. But this week with the Grizzlies, Warriors, and Venom should be pretty easy. Those are 3 of the worst teams in the NBA. So Ochai Agbaji came into the day with a back injury. He will be back in time for this Lakers game, and the roster is fully healthy with the exception of Damian Lillard. We're going to stop after this first game here against the Lakers. We ended up only winning it by 2 with a strong performance from Springer and 32 from Porzingis. But the reason why I'm stopping here is because we have now officially clinched a top 3 seed in the Western Conference with teams 4 through 9 right next to each other. All we had to do was win 1 game to pass all of them, which we do. Our full bill of health will not last long. Shaedon Sharpe pinches a nerve in his back. That's going to take him 4 to 6 weeks to recover. Sharpe missed a large chunk of February. He just got back, and now he's hurt again, which is unfortunate. And if he is out for the rest of the year, which is a possibility, he might not be eligible for All-NBA, which I think there is a real shot of him getting if he was healthy. So Agbaji will move back into the starting lineup to replace him. Darius Springer, hyperextended knee. Not a serious injury, but we want to be cautious with him, being that he is our superstar. So he's likely going to miss 2 games, 1 against Golden State, 1 against the Venom, and we'll have Zay Logan start at the 4. Scoot Henderson, back spasms. He's out for a week or 2. And all of a sudden, we only have 2 starters that are healthy. It's honestly a miracle that this team is going to win 60 games with all the injuries we've had throughout the season. A minute ago, we were fully healthy other than Damian Lillard. Now, arguably, our three best players, Sharp, Scoot, and Springer, are injured. Springer is back, though. Again, not a long-term injury with him. And we ended up going 5-2 in the games that we simulated, losing to Orlando and losing to the Warriors without Darius Springer, which certainly shows his value. We did blow out the Venom, though, without arguably our three best players. And Khlil Griffin only shot the ball 8 times. It was everybody else who won us this game, but the Venom are the worst team in the league, so even with our backups, we should still beat them. Khlil Griffin has really taken on a big load, pause, with all the injuries we've gotten, and he's done a really good job. 44 points in one game, 39 in another, the loss against the Warriors. So it's good to see Griffin healthy, playing well, and we've talked about how efficient he has been this year, but let's kind of really dive into these stats, because the guy is shooting 58% from the field. His three-throw percentage has gone down since the All-Star break. We were looking at 60, 50, 95 at one point, but he's the best three-point shooter in the entire league. He's not listed as qualified, but I think he has shot more three-pointers than some of the guys below him, so he pretty much is qualified with these guys, but he's shooting pretty much 50% from deep, and then he is 6th in the entire league in field goal percentage. The only 5 players ahead of him don't shoot threes. So in other words, Khlil Griffin is the most efficient scorer in the NBA this year, and this isn't a facade. He's been like this since his rookie season, but he's taken it to another level this year. Our most impressive win was this game against the Knicks, who are currently first place in the East. We beat them by 54 with an 18-assist game from Scoot Henderson. He's second 18-assist game since the All-Star break, another triple-double for Scoot, who has also been playing really well before the back injury. And then Darius Springer had a triple-double of his own with 25, 12, and 10. So with that, we are 59-13. We're 7.5 ahead of the Kings, who actually made up some ground on us, winning 7 in a row. But despite that, we're only a couple games away now from clinching the number 1 seed. This looks like pretty much a given at this point. But obviously, our lineup is kind of shorthanded. This is what we're rolling with. I don't think I ever mentioned that Malachi Suleiman is starting at point over Caleb Marsh. I wanted to see what Suleiman can do with the ones, and that's why he's starting. We're going to simulate through this next day. We play the Lakers. The Kings play against the Rockets. Both teams ended up winning. So with that, we are 60-13. We don't officially clinch the number 1 seed with a win against the Rockets, but we are extremely close, and I'd rather play the Rockets than the Heat, because no disrespect to Miami, they're not all that good. Whereas the Rockets are one of the top contenders in the Western Conference, and we have not played against the Rockets all year. All 3 of our matchups with them are right here at the end of the season. The other 2 games against them is during the final week of the year, when we should have the number 1 seed locked up, and we're barely trying. So this is really our only chance to play against the Houston Rockets, who are currently the 3rd seed. They're pretty much stuck in 3rd. The Kings have played too well for Houston to pass them, and Houston's played too well for anyone like Utah to jump them. The Rockets are led by the duo of Jalen Green and Jaden Hudson. Hudson has done a really good job coming back from the torn Achilles he suffered last year, and he hasn't really missed a beat. Of course, they've got other good players alongside those two, such as Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün, DeJounte Murray, Esteban Del Real. They traded for Miles Bridges at the deadline from the Sonics. Even though I think this team is probably a tier below us in Sacramento, who to me are the 2 clear best teams in the entire NBA, I would argue the Rockets are better than anybody else, including the entire Eastern Conference. Houston is a really well-rounded team who doesn't have maybe that top 10 player in the league, but Jalen Green and Jaden Hudson are a phenomenal duo, and Houston has really built around them well, hence why they've been a consistent playoff team over the last 4 years, despite never really making a deep playoff run. We saw these guys once in the playoffs back in Season 2, where we got swept in the first round, but they were the 1 seed, we were the 8 seed. Darius Springer was a rookie. Scoot Henderson was in his 2nd year. Sharp and Abaji were still on their rookie deals. Griffin and Porzingis weren't even on the team. So, obviously, things have certainly changed since then 3 years ago, and now these look like 2 of the premier contenders in the NBA, as Porzingis wins the tip and we are underway. No Scoot Henderson, no Shaedon Sharp, and of course no Damian Lillard for Portland, but everybody else is healthy and playing. Malachi Suleiman with it. Little pick and pop to Griffin, over to Abaji. Pump fake with the slam! Ochai Abaji's done a great job since his early season injury, averaging around 19 points a game, as Suleiman is in for the layup, count the foul, and 1. If Malachi Suleiman ever becomes a great scorer, he's going to be a long starter in this league because the rest of this game is so good. Darius Springer misses the open 3 in the corner. That's what he's got to make. On the other end, here's Jaden Hudson with it. Jumper is good. Hudson, of course, was in the same draft class as Springer, and while Springer has obviously become a better player, Hudson has been very good himself here with the Rockets. Off of the offensive rebound, Springer, pump fake. That one is no good. Another rebound for Springer. And finally, third time's the charm as Darius Springer is in for the layup. And this is a 7-4 ball game. Here's Esteban Del Real. He is intercepted by Khlil Griffin. Here comes the Blazers on the break. Griffin in the corner to Abaji. Over to Springer, who makes the layup. Good ball movement there by Portland off of the steal as it's now 9-6. Springer with it over to Abaji. Pump fake. Looking for a screen. He gets it. Ochai Abaji. Fadeaway three is good. So far, so good. The Blazers look really solid on both ends of the floor. They lead 12-6. Here is Suleiman with the screen from Springer. Over to Springer. He's got an open man in the corner. It's Ochai Abaji who hits another three. Abaji isn't your typical 3-and-D player where he's been inconsistent this year for better or worse, and he's off to a great performance so far as he gets the steal, looking to take it all the way inside for Springer, who is in for the layup. Springer's look great so far, Abaji's look great, and look at that score, 17-6. As good as the Blazers' offense has been, their defense has been even better. The Rockets finally with a basket here with the layup from Jalen Green, averaging just shy of 28 a night this year. Springer on the drive has Griffin open for three. Khlil Griffin's been pretty quiet despite this big run, but he is now on the board. 22-10. Şengün inside for Hudson, who sends it home. It's certainly an asset having a really good passing big, and Alperen Şengün is one of the best passers at center in the NBA. There's Marsh inside for Zay Logan with the throwdown. The second unit starting to come in here for Portland. DeJounte Murray leading the bench this year for the Rockets. Hits the three right in front of Marsh. Big shot for Murray, and the lead is within single digits. 24-15. Springer gets it over to Khlil Griffin on the drive with the throwdown. Khlil Griffin leaves Hudson in the dust, and it's back to an 11-point lead. Şengün with it, hands it off for Jalen Green. Jumper is good off the screen for Green. Hey, that rhymed. And it's a 9-point game again. Abaji in the double figures early, looking to keep his hot start going as he's in for the layup, and the Rockets call a timeout, trailing 28-17. Hey, it's a football score. 28-21 now, still a football score, as Springer gets it over to Zay Logan in the corner. Logan with it on the drive. He gets his second slam of the night as Portland is back up by 9. Springer brings it up the floor himself. He's got 6, 6, and 5 doing everything as he takes it all the way himself. He's bigger and stronger and probably faster than everybody down low, and he's able to get the bucket. DiVincenzo nearly loses it. Springer gets it back over to Dante as DiVincenzo connects on the triple. 35-21. Hudson's shot is no good. Nice defense by Springer. His 7th rebound of the game. Out to DiVincenzo. Pump fake. Gets it over to Bagley. Back to Springer. Looking for the screen and one more basket before the quarter ends. As it's Bagley with it inside. No good. Gets his own rebound. Gets the putback. But unfortunately, he did it after the buzzer sounded, and that one will not count. Despite that, though, the Blazers look great so far. They lead by 14 points. The offense is clicking. The shooting's been great. And the defense has been marvelous up to this point as we move into the second. Caleb Marsh with his first points of the game in for the layup. Marsh has still played in every single game this year. You don't find that type of reliability for a rookie on this good of a team very often. Nice move there by Griffin, slithering inside for the layup. And the Trailblazers are just piling on at this point. They're now up by 18. Here's Immanuel Quickley for three. Knicks franchise legend, Sonics franchise legend, Immanuel Quickley, as it's 39-24. Here's Abaji with it. He's doubled, takes it himself, and the layup is good for Ochai Abaji, who continues to play very impressive basketball. He's already got 14. On the baseline to inbound, DeJounte Murray's jumper is good. The Rockets are just looking to stay afloat here and possibly put themselves in a position to come back in the second half. But the way Portland's playing, I don't know if that's happening. Great pass by Springer off of the fake over to Griffin for a layup. 45-26 now. Here's Amen Thompson with it. Takes it all the way to the rack himself. The Blazers are daring Thompson, a sub 30% three-point shooter, to shoot it. But inside, he is very hard to stop. Miles Bridges with the steal out to Murray. Layup is good for Houston. And the Rockets are back within 15 with 6 to go in the half. Suleiman inside for Abaji. No good, but it's tipped back in. So as we look at the replay, I don't think it was a Blazer who tipped it in. I think it was Amen Thompson who poked it off the backboard, and it bounced in. It's been that kind of day for the Rockets, who now trail by 20, the largest lead of the game so far, as Thompson throws it down. Good play off the ball by Amen Thompson, who's often played off the ball a lot here in Houston, but I think he really excels with the ball in his hands, as Griffin is in for the layup. Nice play there by Khlil Griffin. He's up to 11 points. 53-33 now. Amen Thompson with it, looking to get some room. Thompson takes it himself. No good. Şengün offensive rebound. Put back with the foul. And one for Alperen Şengün, as it's a 17-point game with 3 to go in the half. Portland's offense has certainly slowed down over the last couple of minutes, while the Rockets are looking to go on a little run as Amen Thompson hits the 3. 53-39. DiVincenzo's off. Springer with the rebound. His 11th. He's already got a double-double, but he misses the putback. On the other end, Jalen Green layup is good with the foul, and one. The Rockets are on a 9-0 run. They've brought the lead to 11. They've still got some work to do, but they're back in the game. Portland needs a bucket. It's Springer with it in the corner for 3. Darius Springer from beyond the arc. Blazers back up by 16 with a minute and a half to go here in the second. Here's Griffin with it on the drive. Hands it off for Darius Springer. Gets by Del Real. Euro steps away from Thompson, and he gets the dunk. 60-44 now. Here's Green over to Thompson. Back to Green. Passes out of the shot. Over to Esteban Del Real, who hits the triple. Despite the acquisition of Miles Bridges, Del Real has stayed in the starting lineup for the Rockets, where he's been better than Bridges since the trade. Suleiman open in the corner for 3. He drills it. Malachi Suleiman, a sub-30% three-point shooter, knocks that one down as Hudson floats in the acrobatic layup despite good defense by Khlil Griffin. 63-49. Springer with it. No good. Nice defense by Del Real. He gets his own rebound, though. Out to an open man. It's Money Marv. Marvin Bagley the third with the mid-ranger. 65-49 now. Thompson with it on the drive. Lobs it up for Alperen Şengün, who taps it off the glass. 14-point lead with just seconds to go here in the half. Jalen Green with it, looking for a screen, won't get it. 3 at the buzzer is good. There's still a second left, but a nice shot by Jalen Green. It's going to be DiVincenzo who throws it up from half court, and it is off the back iron. 65-54, Blazers lead. Portland's definitely been the better team in this first half, but they didn't look so good over the last few minutes of that second quarter. They led by as much as 20. The lead now back down to 11. Of course, Portland is a win and Kings loss away from clinching the 1 seed. The Kings play Memphis today, so I'm not banking on clinching the 1 seed today because the Kings are probably going to win that game. But hopefully Portland can take care of business here. It does feel like the Rockets are slowly building some momentum, but overall it has been a rough first half offensively for Houston. They've certainly got to pick it up. Caleb Marsh daring Amen Thompson to shoot it, and that proves to be a mistake, as Amen Thompson drills the corner 3. Lead is down to 8, closest it's been in a while. Porzingis nearly loses it, gets it back over to Griffin. Pump fake on the drive with the back scratcher. Khlil Griffin sends it home. Springer with 15, 12, and 8, leading the way for Portland here as he has the easy mismatch with Jalen Green. Don't know why he went for the fadeaway, but he made the shot, so I guess that's all that matters. 69, nice, to 57. Here's Green with a nice move. That one is good, despite solid defense by Agbaji, who had a very productive first half scoring the ball. Griffin's mid-ranger is no good. Agbaji with the offensive rebound and the putback. Ochai leads all scorers with 20 as he makes a great play there on the offensive glass. 73-59 now. Jalen Green with it. Green, fadeaway, triple, bang! Nice shot for Houston, who's continuing to stay in the game. This looked like it was going to be a blowout for a while, so give him credit that it's still competitive. As the lob for Wisham is unsuccessful, but it doesn't matter. He can just pick the ball out of the air because he's taller than Şengün. Springer's pass is intercepted by Şengün. Jalen Green, jumper in transition is good, and the Rockets are back within 11. I feel like the lead has been very steadily within 9 to 13 points. That's where we've been for a while, as Springer hits the 3 on the right wing. 80-66 now. Agbaji with 24 on the drive. Layup is no good as he does not get the lucky bounce. And here comes the Rockets in transition. It's a lob from Thompson to Esteban Del Real. The lead now at 8. 80-72. Logan, open lane. Layup is good. Nice play there by Zay Logan to not be phased by the defense by DeJounte Murray. 11-point game now. Green guarded by DiVincenzo. He's inside for Hudson, who misses the layup. Ball is tipped. Hudson gets it back. Has Murray wide open in the corner for three. Nobody guarded Murray for the 10 seconds he was in the corner. It was only a matter of time until he made the shot, which he does. So it's an 8-point game once again. Here's Porzingis off the catch for three. And Kristaps is finally on the board. It took him nearly 3 quarters, but he does off the assist by Marsh. Hudson now with a triple. That one's good. And both teams are now starting to rein in some threes. Houston's offense really looking a lot better here in the third quarter as Caleb Marsh looks for the screen on the drive. Layup is good. Nice play there by Marsh using his big 6'8" frame to get by the defense. 91-82. Hudson layup. That one's good. And the lead is down to 7. Now it's back at 9 with 10 seconds to go here in the third. Hudson with it, guarded by Logan on the drive. It is blocked by Porzingis. One more shot for Portland. Logan heaves it up. It almost goes in. Nice shot by Logan, but it doesn't fall. 93-84. Portland has the lead, but the Rockets have steadily made this game closer and closer. Portland seems to be running out of gas quicker, and we'll see if Houston can pull off a comeback. That's not a good start for them. Nice find by Suleiman over to Marvin Bagley for 3. Miles Bridges misses the open 3. Couldn't have happened to a better guy, am I right? Suleiman, though, is intercepted. DeJounte Murray forces the turnover over to Hudson. Inside, a great pass and a great finish by Cam Whitmore. Here is Griffin at the basket. Misses the layup. It takes an unlucky bounce. Whitmore with the rebound. He gets it over to DeJounte Murray. Murray looking for some space. Throws up the 3. It is good. And the lead is within 6. Again, the closest it's been in quite some time. Suleiman over to Springer. Pump fake. Blows by Whitmore. Has an open man in the corner. It's Khlil Griffin who drills the triple. Bellissimo! Big 3 for Khlil Griffin. He's looking for another one, and he airballs it short. So I think it's fair to say that one was off the mark. And on the other end, Hudson, 3. Bang! Suleiman was expecting a drive. Hudson's going to stay patient, get some space. Lead is back within 6. Here's DeJounte Murray with it, guarded by Suleiman. Murray, hoping somebody gets open, and it's a lob! Hudson with the windmill! 101-95, 6.5 to go. Griffin, fade away. That one is good. Portland needed a basket, and they do. A tough shot for Griffin, but it will fall. 8-point game now. Griffin with 21. Crossover, guarded by Murray. Pump fake. Logan, open 3. It is good! Huge triple for Zay Logan. And it's 106-97 with 5 to go. Marsh on the drive. That one is off. Nice defense by Şengün. Here comes DeJounte Murray on the other end. Looks to make a play as he throws it up. It's another lob. And it's Esteban Del Real with the slam. Lead now sits at 7 with around 5 minutes to go. Griffin looking for the screen. Another fadeaway mid-ranger. And once again, it falls. Khlil Griffin is not this efficient by accident. He takes some tricky shots, but he knows how to get them to fall. 9-point game. Green jumper. That one's good. A long 2 for Jalen Green. And the Trailblazers call a timeout, looking to close out this game. Up 7 with 4 to go. Here's Marsh with it in the corner. Springer, 3. Buries the hatchet. Darius Springer puts the Trailblazers up by 10. And now the Rockets really face an uphill battle. It's possible, but they're going to need a lot. Got to start somewhere. Jalen Green with the short 2. 8-point game. Springer, pump fake, hoping somebody gets open. Porzingis fakes the 3. Looks to drive inside over to Caleb Marsh. Rockets not letting him get much space. And the lob for Porzingis is no good. He went for some style. Unsuccessful on the other end. Here's Amen Thompson. He's pressured over to Hudson, who sends it home. And the Rockets are now within 6. Make it 8. 113-105. Here's Jalen Green for 3. It's good! Jalen Green has been money in this fourth quarter. And it's a 5-point game with just over 2 to go. Springer misses. He wanted to outpower Amen Thompson, and he was unsuccessful. Here come the Rockets now. Thompson with the lob for Hudson. It's a one-possession game. 113-110 with 2 to go. Can the Rockets pull off the comeback? Abaji, pump fake. Gets it over to Marsh, looking for the screen from Springer. Marsh out to Springer. Rockets not letting them get any shots off. Marsh is no good, but Griffin is there with the putback. An ugly possession using the entire shot clock results in a highlight slam by Khlil Griffin, who soars to the basket. It's a 2-score game once again. 3 is no good. Şengün with the and one putback. Nobody was down low to guard Şengün, and it's right back to a 2-point game. Neither team wants to hold momentum. Springer calls for isolation. He wants to be the one to make the play, but he steps out of bounds. Good defense by Del Real to force him out without fouling. Rockets would miss the following possession, but then they get a turnover. And then Thompson with the steal. Thompson for the tie, no good. Putback attempt is no good by Del Real, but then Şengün gets it. So the Rockets are going to get a third chance to score here. It's Hudson, and he will tie it with the layup. We're knotted up at 1:15, and the Blazers have officially choked their 20-point lead. Are you a huge lead? Because I would love to blow you tonight. Hudson with the steal. Del Real, Thompson, layup is good. And the Rockets are now ahead by a pair. Blazers still have 2 timeouts, decide to use neither. Khlil Griffin on the drive. Misses the layup, but draws the foul. And he will go to the line to shoot 2. First one is no good. Khlil Griffin's one of the best free throw shooters in the league. But he misses the first, and he misses the second. Oh, man, that is a killer. Khlil Griffin goes 0 for 2 at the line, and now Şengün gets 2 for the Rockets. First one, he misses. No one wants to make their damn free throws. Second one for Alperen Şengün is good, finally. It's a 3-point game. The Blazers call time with just under 16 seconds. And now they're going to need to figure out what they do on this possession. Since they have another timeout, I feel like they don't have to go for a 3. But if this possession lasts more than 5 seconds, they can't really go for it 2. We want our best shooters in the game, so we're going to have Zay Logan replace Malachi Suleiman. All 5 guys on the floor can shoot the 3, and I want as much spacing as possible. Maybe keep Porzingis inside as a rebounder, but everybody else I would like on the perimeter. I don't want to go for it 2 and then hope for the best. I think we need to take the 3-point shot now, whether it's early in the possession or later. I think the best course of action is to look for a 3 early. Keep running screens, keep running motion, and if somebody's open, shoot the ball. So it's in the hands of Abaji, who's got 30, looking to get Logan on a screen. Quick closeout by Green. He won't take the shot. There's only 5 to go. Somebody's got to shoot it quick. It's Logan on the drive out to Springer for the tie. Bang! Darius Springer ties it at 1:18 with the 3 in the corner. The possession didn't necessarily go to plan. I didn't plan on there only being 1 second after the make, but at least he made it. That's the big thing, is the Rockets call timeout, and now they have a chance to win the game. They don't have a lot of time left, and they're really just going to have to heave it up. They don't even have a second. They only have 0.4. So basically, don't foul, and don't let them get anything like in the paint. So really, we don't really have to focus on one specific player. I think they're just going to pass it to whoever gets open. And again, try to contest, but the number one thing is don't foul. I would rather them get an open look than a foul, because it's kind of hard to get a good shot off with 4/10 of a second, even when you are open. We're going to take both Griffin and Springer out of the game. I want to conserve their energy for overtime, and I don't think it really matters who's on the floor. Again, there's 4/10 of a second. Del Real will inbound. He's got Thompson for the win. No good. We're going to overtime. Considering the lack of time, I think he got a pretty good look off. But luckily, it does not fall, and this one is headed to overtime. It certainly should have never come this far, considering we led by as many as 20 points. But beggars can't be choosers, and we'll get some extra basketball. The starters back in for Portland, minus Caleb Marsh, who's in instead of Suleiman, as Porzingis wins the tip, and we'll see if the Blazers can look to win this overtime period despite Houston's momentum. Marsh misses, grabs his own miss to Porzingis for 3. Bang! Kristaps Porzingis with the triple. Great play by Marsh to follow the miss and get the assist. Jalen Green inside. Layup is no good, but Şengün gets the putback. Springer unable to grab the rebound. Springer and Griffin are gassed, and understandably so. The two of them have barely sat today. Thompson, step back, throws it up for Esteban Del Real, and the Rockets are up by 1. 2.5 to go. Both offenses slow early here in overtime. Abaji with only a second left on the shot clock. Bang! He hits the fadeaway 3, and Ochai Abaji puts the Blazers up by 2. Houston in transition. Thompson, layup is good with the foul, and 1. And Amen Thompson puts the Rockets ahead. Springer 3 for the lead. No good. Del Real with the rebound. Here comes the Rockets in transition. Esteban Del Real bullies Malachi Suleiman in for the dunk, and it's a 3-point Rockets lead with 1:20 here in overtime. Agbaji with it on the drive. It's a lob for Darius Springer, who, might I add, has a triple-double, 28, 14, and now 10 assists, as it's 126-127. Hudson has it tipped again, it's stolen by Springer. Portland can take the lead. Griffin with it on the drive. Layup is good. And Khlil Griffin has the Trailblazers up by a point. 128-127. The inbound is stolen away by Agbaji. On the other end, he's got Porzingis on the drive. He is no good, but is fouled by Del Real. Porzingis would make both at the line. It's a 3-point game with 34 seconds left. Şengün, jumper, that one falls. Now a 1-point game in favor of the Rockets. Will Houston go to foul? It looks like they won't. So what is Portland going to do? They're actually going to look to get a shot off kind of quickly here, as Agbaji has it in the corner. Suleiman, it's intercepted by Del Real. The Rockets now pushing the pace up the floor. Del Real guarded by Agbaji. He is blocked by Porzingis, but possession will stay with the Rockets. They'll call time. 15.5 left on the game clock, 11 left on the shot clock. The reason why I wanted to go for a quick shot on that last possession is so we could get the ball back no matter what, even if Houston hits a big shot here. Since there's 15 seconds instead of 0.4, they'll actually have time to run a play. We're going to have Wisham come in for Porzingis. Who do I think they're going to get the ball to? It's going to be either Green or Hudson. I'm a little bit more worried about Jalen Green. I think they're going to try to get him a good look inside. So if we can force a jumper on him, I think that'd be a big deal. It'll likely be Agbaji covering him, who's arguably our best perimeter defender. Del Real has it in the corner for Şengün. Out to Hudson for 3. Buries it! Jaden Hudson for 3. Not where I expected them to go, but it works. It's a 2-point game with 11 seconds, and now Portland's going to have a chance to tie or win. They had the big shot at the end of regulation with Springer's corner 3, but now they don't have to go for a 3, and I'd probably rather look for a good look inside. If somebody's open on the perimeter, you'll take it, but I think ideally look to have spacing, look for everybody to have room, so if they want isolation on a drive or some kind of self-shot creation, they'll have enough space, while also keeping motion on the perimeter for guys to get open. So we'll see what the plan is here for Portland with 11 seconds left to go. Their best offensive players in the game, as it's in the hands of Khlil Griffin. Griffin's guarded by Hudson, and it looks like it will be Griffin who decides what happens on this possession. He's going to drive. Layup for the tie is good. Nice move by Khlil Griffin with the Euro step, and we're knotted up at 132. Hudson for the win. Damn, that was actually a pretty good full court heave, but it's no good, and we are headed to a double overtime, knotted up at 132. Neither team wants to win this game, and again, we'll get 4 more minutes of extra basketball. We'll see if either team can take control here in the second overtime period. I feel like in that first overtime period, it was the Rockets who started off well. Then it was us who really went on a nice run. We took a 3-point lead with around 30 seconds left, but we couldn't hold on. I think we've got to really start this overtime off strongly, and we'll see if that'll end up being the case. It'll be the same 5 who started the overtime last go-around, with one exception. Zay Logan is in instead of Ochai Agbaji, who's going to rest for around a minute or 2 on the bench. We trust Zay Logan to be able to hold the fort, and then Agbaji will return. So we'll see who ends up scoring first. It's Zay Logan. Step back 3. No good. Porzingis with the rebound. Pump fake out to Marsh. Marsh looks to drive. His jumper is good. Nice play there by Caleb Marsh to get the scoring started for the Trailblazers. 134-132. Jalen Green jumper for the tie. That one falls, and we're knotted up at 134. Portland calls an early timeout. I don't really see the reason for that, but okay. Agbaji is back in the game. That would be the only explanation for the time. Thompson, wide open for 3. No good. Şengün misses. Grabs his own rebound again. Del Real for 3. It's good! It's actually going to be a long 2 for Del Real, but nonetheless, you cannot let them get 3 shots on that one possession because they're bound to capitalize. Springer with it now. Pick and roll. Griffin dunk. He's got 31. And again, we're tied at 136. Similar to the first overtime, both offenses have started slowly as Green misses the 3. Şengün nearly grabs the rebound, but he doesn't. It's Griffin to Agbaji. Long-range triple. He misses. Agbaji was open, too. I get it was a deep 3, but there was nobody covering him. He should have made the shot. as Hudson has it stripped away and stolen by Griffin. In transition, Griffin layup, yes! The Blazers are up by 2, 138-136. Green guarded by Ochai, a little bit over a minute left. Out to Thompson for 3. Bang! Thompson was open. It wasn't necessarily on purpose. It was just that he came off the screen and got a good look. Agbaji is blocked at the rim. I think it was Hudson who got a hand on it. Rockets up by 1 with the ball. Green, corner 3. It's good! Back-to-back triples for Houston. They now lead by 4 with around 40 seconds left. And now it's up to the Blazers for another big comeback. Here's Khlil Griffin on the wing. He hits the triple. We're back within 1. A quick response from Griffin, and Portland will not elect to foul. Hudson on the drive. Layup is good. At least he scored quickly, though, giving the Blazers around 30 seconds here as they call a timeout. So no matter what, the Rockets will get the ball back. We don't have to go for a 3 or a 2, but we do have to score. And we're going to put our 5 best scorers, or at least our 5 best healthy scorers, in the game. So we'll see what Portland does here. I think they have to kind of almost view it like a normal possession. Just look for points, but don't use the entire shot clock. If you can do it quick, do it quick. Here's Griffin, hands it off for Agbaji. Portland's got to move it. 10 to go on the shot clock. Agbaji, mid-range jumper is good. And Ochai Agbaji, who's got 35, brings it within 1. And it's going to be Thompson who is fouled. And Houston will get another opportunity to inbound it and foul. But it looks like they will go to Thompson, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. I feel like the guys who you want taking the 3 throws, Amen Thompson probably isn't the one at the top of the list. He's not a bad 3-throw shooter, but compared to, say, Jalen Green or Jaden Hudson, this doesn't feel like the right call. And sure enough, he does miss the first one. Second one now for Thompson is good. Portland is out of timeout, so they've got to play this live. 2 ties, 3 wins. We'll see what the plan is here for Portland. Pretty much the same spot they were in the last overtime, down by 2, but they need something quick. There's 6 seconds left. Here's Agbaji on the drive. Layup is no good, but he's fouled by Amen Thompson. So Ochai Agbaji gets 2 at the line. If he makes both, the game is tied. Ochai's got 35 as the first one is nothing but net. Lead within 1. Second for Ochai is also good, and we're tied at 1:45 and the Rockets call time. Houston's had a few opportunities for go-ahead shots today, one with 0.4 seconds, one with 15, and this one is also very different because they've got 3 seconds. They don't have enough time to run a full play like they did when there was 15, but they also don't have to catch it and heave it up immediately like they did with 0.4 seconds. I think they're going to look for something inside, and between Green and Hudson, I think Hudson's been the better finisher tonight. So if we can force a jumper from him, I think that's probably our best course of action, assuming he is the one who they're going to look to get the shot. He was the one who hit the big 3 in the last overtime. It is Hudson with it. He gets a layup, and it's blocked. Şengün for the win. It's good. But did he get it off in time? Wisham was the one who blocked the shot from Hudson, but Şengün got a chance for the win. So we'll see if Şengün got the shot off in time. And man, that is unbelievably close. Literally right as the buzzer sounded is when he got it off. I think because of that, this play will stand. The shot will not count because there's not enough evidence to overturn it. And the Blazers certainly think so the way they're celebrating. But we'll see the final call. And there you go. The ruling is confirmed. The shot will not count for Alperen Şengün. And that means we are headed to another overtime. This game may literally never end as we move into overtime number 3. And you'll notice that the Blazers are doing something different with the lineup. No Suleiman, no Marsh. It's Point Griffin. I would rather have Zay Logan in the game than one of those other 2 guards because Logan is a better player. I want to see if Khlil Griffin can run the offense and win the game for us, as he will be the first to score off of an early slam, blowing by Jalen Green. He's got 38. Agbaji's got 37. We'll see who leads the team in scoring, and Ochai is in with the slam. He's now got 39. Nice play off the inbound. Great movement off the ball by Agbaji to pick his spot. Sends down the dunk. And Portland's off to a good start here in the opening minute of overtime number 3. 149-145. Şengün floater is good. This time Alperen Şengün's basket will count. And the lead is back down to 2 with 2:40. Logan is intercepted by Amen Thompson. Here comes the Rockets on the break. Hudson with the slam, and we're tied at 149. Neither team wants to really take momentum and win this game. I think the biggest lead in either overtime period has to be like 4. Here's Esteban Del Real, spin move, layup for the lead, and the Rockets are now up by 2, 151-149. Griffin with it on the drive. He's trapped. Over to Springer in the corner. He's got Abaji, guarded by Şengün. That's a mismatch. Ochai blows by him. We're tied at 151 with under a minute left. And that's 41 points for Ochai Abaji, which I believe ties a season and career high, if I'm not mistaken. Del Real will inbound it over to Amen Thompson. He's running circles at this point, hoping somebody gets open. And it's Del Real who hits the 3 for Houston. And the Rockets are up by 3. Abaji with it on the drive. Portland can afford a 2 or a 3. Springer with the screen from Porzingis. Springer on the drive, gets the dunk. 30, 14, and 14. And it's a 1-point game with 30 seconds left. Will this be where this game ends? Thompson, long 2, no good. That was a bad shot selection. Portland can now take the lead. It's Khlil Griffin on the drive. Pump fake. Griffin's trapped over to Suleiman. He gets it to Abaji with under 20 to go. Abaji looking for the screen. No space whatsoever for anyone, but finally he gets some room and is in for the dunk. Great job there by Abaji to separate himself from the defender Del Real, and the Rockets will get another chance to win the game with 11.2 seconds left. So again, I think Houston's going to have enough time to run a play, but now being that there is no shot clock, I think they're going to look to hold a little bit longer, especially being that it's a 1-point game. We're going to bring our defensive lineup in the game, Wisham at the 5, Suleiman at the 1, and unless Houston gets 1 3-throw on this possession, I think this might finally be the end of the game. It's Amen Thompson with it for the Rockets, guarded by Suleiman. Thompson off the screen, has some space. Thompson to Del Real for the win. No good! And the Blazers finally finish it off in triple overtime. 155-154 is your final. Neither team wanted to win this game really whatsoever, but somebody has to do it, and it is Portland who wins it in 3 overtimes. Quite the game here against a Western Conference contender in Houston in what could be a Western Conference Finals preview. Now, albeit we still won this game without 2 of our 4 best players, and Damian Lillard as well, but that's neither here nor there. 43 points for Jaden Hudson. He was really solid. I feel like it was a quiet 43, but still was quite good, and he played 46 minutes. Griffin and Springer also barely sat. Jalen Green as well played over 40 minutes. He had 33. And the other 3 starters all had double-doubles. Del Real hit some huge threes. Şengün with 21 rebounds made a few big plays. And then Thompson with 22 and 12. The Rockets did not use their bench at all in overtime. Their starting 5 played all 3 overtimes from start to finish. Whereas for us, we were mixing and matching lineups around. Shout out Ochai Abaji, who had 43 points. He's been on a tear as of recent. It's a career high for Abaji, and he has scored at least 32 over his last 3. 38 and 10 for Griffin, a triple-double for Springer, not quite able to hit his career high in assists with 30, 15, and 14. And it was really those 3 guys carrying the offense. Nobody else had more than 12. We relied on those 3, and it worked as we were able to get the win. We were a little bit sloppy with the ball at times. Those guys ran out of gas, understandably so, throughout the game, but we still hold on to win. The Kings did beat the Grizzlies, unsurprisingly, so we haven't clinched the number 1 seed yet, but we can do it in our next game against the Miami Heat. The Heat have won 4 in a row. They've actually played pretty well since the deadline. Shout out to Byron Sheridan. And they're keeping it close here. Really competitive game thus far. And we're looking to pull away here in the 4th, and it looks like we will. And we're going to take this one 150-138. Ochai leads us in scoring again with 31. 26 for Porzingis. Springer and Griffin were both a little bit quieter, but we do win it. And with that, the Portland Trail Blazers are the number 1 seed. The Western Conference and the NBA playoffs as a whole run through Portland. But now the question is, how are we going to manage these last 7 games? Because we're not really playing for anything, but we still have 7 games on the schedule. Well, obviously with all the injuries we've had, we're going to be very cautious here, but I don't want to give our guys 2 weeks off, plus a week off for the playing games. 3 weeks without basketball seems like a bad idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to play certain guys a certain amount of games. Some players like Caleb Marsh, Malachi Suleiman, the young guys, they're going to play pretty much every game. But guys like Springer, Scoot, Griffin, they're going to play roughly half of the games. It is worth noting, by the way, that Darius Springer has actually passed Luka in the MVP race. I kind of figured that I was not really going to focus on the MVP race anymore, but now that Springer's in first, let's do it. Let's win him an MVP. I don't want to play Springer every game because I don't want to have him get hurt, but I want him to win the MVP, so we're probably going to have him play 5 games, definitely against Dallas, for sure. So hopefully that way we can get Springer to win his MVP. As I mentioned with Damian Lillard, he will not play the rest of the regular season, but pretty much everybody else here should get at least a couple games. And then, as I said, with the young guys like Caleb Marsh, they're going to play pretty much every game. I'm especially intrigued by Marsh because he's going to have a great opportunity. He's going to start all 7 games. He's going to play a lot. And we're going to start by simulating our first 4. Scoot Henderson is back healthy. He's probably going to play 2 or 3 of these games just so he can get his legs under him. Damian Lillard is back. As I said, he's not going to play at all. We're going to save him until the playoffs. We ended up going 2-2 in our first 4. We beat Dallas with Springer and mostly backups. Scoot Henderson did play, but other than that, we didn't play Griffin. We didn't play Porzingis. Springer was kind of quiet in this game, but he did nearly break his career high in rebounds, and more importantly, we won again against the Mavericks. We would lose our next 2 games, though. We played none of our starters against the Thunder, but we did play most of them against Detroit, so it is interesting that we lost that game. So now we've got 3 games to go. Springer is still the favorite for the MVP. We play the Rockets twice and then Atlanta. Neither of those teams have anything to play for, as the Rockets have locked in the 3 seed while Atlanta is really bad. The race for the 4 seed is still ultra competitive with all these teams super close. Teams 4 through 9 have clinched at minimum a play-in spot, but are obviously looking for a playoff spot for good. Shout out Minnesota, they've won 7 in a row. They really scare me as a first round or second round matchup with how streaky they've been. And then as for the 10 seed, it is the Lakers who have taken over that spot ahead of Denver and Phoenix. As for the East, only 3 teams have clinched playoff spots: the Knicks, Pistons, and Bulls. 8 teams have clinched play-in spots. The Bucks look to join, while the Raptors and Celtics are doing their best at both not making it. The Raptors have lost 6 in a row, and the Celtics had lost 7 in a row at one point. So, unfortunately, we cannot stay fully healthy during these 2 weeks. Abaji sprains his ankle in the second game against the Rockets. We weren't going to play him or really anybody against Atlanta anyway, and luckily, he comes back fully healthy. So we end up splitting the 2 games against the Rockets. We played a lot more guys in the second game, though, which is the one I care about more. We ended up winning that game by 8. Springer was solid, Griffin was pretty good, and then we played pretty much nobody against the Atlanta Hawks. We ran a 7-man rotation with pretty much the most unserious lineup I've ever seen. Everybody who's getting big playoff minutes did not play, and we still won. Caleb Marsh led the way with 27, and Marsh did have some really good games during this long 7-game stretch, and he has officially played all 82 games. Fritz Bengaro had 26. Suleiman and Bagley had double-doubles. The game put some of our guys in right at the end of the game, but oh well, it's fine. The most important thing, though, is that we're healthy. Shaedon Sharpe is about to return from his back injury. Bengaro did get hurt against the Hawks, but he's literally the last guy off the bench for us, so I think we'll be fine. With that, we finished the regular season at 66-16, the number 1 seed in the West. Minnesota climbs all the way up to 5. They will not be in the play-in tournament. New Orleans ends up at 7. Dallas is 8. The winner of that game will play against the Kings, but keep in mind, Luka sprained his wrist and is questionable for the first play-in game. If they lose, he'll be questionable for the second game, which would be against the winner of the Spurs and the Lakers. One of these 4 teams will play against us in the first round. Interestingly, the Lakers do end up as the 10 seed, and they'll be the favorite to certainly get by San Antonio. As for the East, the Knicks are the number 1 seed. Ultimately, the Bucks do clinch a play-in spot, and the Raptors get the last spot over Boston. They will battle the loser of the first game between the 76ers and the Cavs. Let's simulate to the end of the year. Look at our awards as Darius Springer has won the NBA's most valuable player. Who could have seen this coming going into the year? But it's absolutely well deserved. With Luka Doncic's wrist injury, that kind of killed any hope for him to win the award. And it is Darius Springer, 26 points, 13.5 rebounds, over 6 assists on really good shooting while playing all NBA level defense. What a year for Darius Springer, who took a massive leap up in his 4th NBA season, and he's found a way to get better every year for us. As a rookie, he averaged 12 points a game on bad shooting. His second year, he improved all around, and his third year, he made the All-Star team, and then this year, he took the leap up to stardom. He went up a lot in player progression this offseason, and we had big expectations for him. Did I expect him to win the MVP, though? Not quite, but it is very well deserved. Second in the NBA in terms of estimated wins added. And with all the injuries that this team had, he still found a way to steady the ship and lead us to 66 wins, and absolutely deserves this honor. Let's look at the other awards. As Sidi Gafare, the number 2 overall pick, wins the Rookie of the Year for the Jazz. Cameron Banks wins the 6th Man of the Year for the Pelicans, who love playing some of their best players off the bench. Chet Holmgren wins the Defensive Player of the Year. He only shot 43% as somebody who's over 7 foot, which is odd, but that award is not for offense for a reason. Enzo Shabazz, the former Blazer, wins Most Improved with the Sonics. I'm happy for him. He gave us some big moments in the playoffs last year. I didn't want to lose him in the expansion draft, but ultimately I prioritized Ashton Wisham over him. Jalen Green wins the Clutch Player of the Year. Chauncey, Mr. Big Shot, Billups wins the Coach of the Year, and we also win the Executive of the Year. Looking at the All-NBA first team, somebody's missing. How does he win the MVP but not make the first team? I'm going to assume that's never happened in NBA history. Darius Springer only ends up on the All-NBA second team, again, despite winning the Most Valuable Player. Doesn't make sense to me, but roll with it. I'd rather him win the MVP than make All-NBA first team. As for the third team, some surprises here with young guys like Jalen Richmond and Tyson Ledbetter, but I'm happy to see the young guys really progressing well, getting these all-league honors. Richmond also made the all-defensive first team with Myron Sheridan. Both of those surprised me quite a bit. And then on all-defensive second team, Darius Springer is back for a second consecutive year. Remember when we almost traded for Damalio de los Santos at the trade deadline? Well, he ended up averaging 25 a game after the All-Star break, albeit he plays on a really bad Memphis team. But he had a big stretch offensively while playing all-league defense. On the all-rookie first team, Caleb Marsh makes it. Of course, he was one of the best rookies in the class. He played all 82 games and gave us some really steady contributions as a role player, which is certainly good to see. I'm not really sure what his playoff role is going to look like now that the team is fully healthy. He really capitalized on all the injuries we had, and there are a lot of guys who I trust more with him being a rookie. But he's certainly going to play, and we'll see what his role looks like in this first round series. Let's take a look at the final stats for the year for our team. Obviously, everybody produced. Darius Springer won the MVP. Khlil Griffin had maybe the most efficient wing-scoring season I've ever seen. Damian Lillard put up a lot of points. He only played 6 games with us, though, in the regular season. Shaedon Sharpe had a great season when healthy, but he only played like 5 or 6 games after the month of February. Did not qualify for All-NBA, and I think there's, again, a chance that he would have made it. Scoot Henderson only played 49 games, but he as well had a great season. He played really well in like the 7 or 8 games he was healthy today. And again, with Griffin and Scoot, both of them absolutely would have made All-NBA had they qualified and been healthy. Scoot and Griffin both put up numbers equal or better than some of the players who did make the All-NBA teams. And obviously, these guys played on the best team in the league, so they very easily would have made an All-League spot had they been able to stay healthy. I thought Ochai Agbaji had a tremendous year. He missed most of the early portion of the year with injury, but when he was healthy, he was really good. Porzingis was very solid. Zay Logan took another step. Caleb Marsh, again, as we know, played all 82 games. And then the young guys like Malachi Suleiman and Ashton Wisham all showed us some good flashes. Nobody was bad, nobody was disappointing, which makes stud and dud of the year kind of complicated. And I don't really know what I want to do with this, so I wanted to ask you guys what we should do for studs and duds, because I feel like it's not fair to only have studs of the year and not have duds. But everybody either met or exceeded my expectations. I think it's pretty obvious who the stud of the year is, probably the guy who won the MVP, but everybody else, when healthy, produced. Shaedon Sharpe was really good. Scoot Henderson took an unexpected leap. Khlil Griffin took a slightly more expected leap. Porzingis was good. Agbaji was really solid. Caleb Marsh was very good for a rookie. Suleiman took a step up. Logan took a step up. Nobody deserves to be the dud of the year, so I'm not really sure how to go about that. So again, I want to hear your suggestions down below in the comments. Let's wrap up today's episode finding out who we're going to play against in the first round. The winner of the 7-8 game between the Pelicans and the Mavericks will go against Sacramento in the first round. Luka Doncic will not play in this game for the Mavericks, so unsurprisingly, New Orleans wins pretty comfortably, 36 for Troyland Battle. Kind of a quiet game for Jalen Richmond, Mr. All-NBA. As for Dallas, Taylor Hendricks leads them in scoring. Quiet game from Kyrie, and obviously no Luka, whose status is up in the air for this next game between the winner of the Lakers and the Spurs. Both teams looking to keep their seasons alive. I think the Lakers are certainly in position to win this game, and they take it 138-114 with a great game from Ja Morant. The Spurs season ended when Wembanyama got hurt in early January. I think they were the 3rd or the 4th seed when he got injured, and as expected, everything kind of fell apart, and they will not make it out of the play-in. 36 for Ja. Interestingly, Dante Del Toro did not make a field goal, which is quite fascinating. So now, the winner of this game between the Lakers and the Mavericks will play us in the first round, as Shaedon Sharpe is now fully healthy. Luka Doncic is still hurt, but unsurprisingly, he will go for the Mavericks. The Lakers have the edge early. Dallas is staying in it. We've got ourselves a good game here in the fourth quarter. Who will pull away? And it looks like it is the Los Angeles Lakers, and they will win this game 142-137 with a big defensive fourth quarter. Again, it's Ja Morant who leads the way for the Lakers. Luka did all he could with a 39-point triple-double. Kyrie Irving played a lot better, but unfortunately for the Mavericks, it's all for naught. 39 and 11 for Morant. Del Toro had 27. Bryson Franklin had 22. So the big three in this game really produced for the Lakers, and they will be our first-round matchup. In the East, it's all chalk. The 7th seed Sixers beat Cleveland, and then Cleveland beats Milwaukee. So the defending champion Bucks are out. Giannis will not get a 3rd consecutive ring, and there will be a new team hoisting up the trophy. I assume the favorite has to be the Portland Trail Blazers, who have been the best team in the league this year, and we will start our postseason journey with the Lakers, who coming into the day, I think were the 12 seed, but they played well over the last month to get themselves to the 10 spot, and they won 2 play-in games. Obviously, they acquired Ja Morant at the deadline. He is this team's probably best player. He's certainly their best healthy player because in the game against the Mavericks, Dante Del Toro strained his MCL. I think he's going to try to play, but he's going to be nowhere near as effective. A big loss for the Lakers with how good Del Toro has played this year. He made All-NBA, I think, 2nd team, and gets his first opportunity in the playoffs, likely first of many, with Del Toro likely being one of the longtime faces of our league. That means the number 1 pick this year, Bryson Franklin, is really going to have to step up. He's only 19 years old. Does he have it in him? The Lakers don't have a ton of great role players, and most of their better role players, such as Malachi Branham and Bilal Coulibaly, were used to get Ja Morant. Tari Eason is their best role player, but he as well is hurt. He broke his toe. So unlike us, the Lakers are not fully healthy. Tari Eason's going to be out for a bit, and Dante Del Toro's status seems very much up in the air. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode. I know it was a long one. We had a lot to go through. But next episode, we are ready to kick off the playoffs with games 1 and 2 at home against the Lakers. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.